Lindsay Sarniak's silent strength, navigating health challenges off-camera. For decades, viewers have known Lindsay Sarniak as composed, articulate, and relentlessly prepared, a woman who could command a broadcast with clarity while making it feel personal. Yet behind the calm cadence and professional polish existed a quieter narrative, one that unfolded away from studio lights and social media updates, a story of resilience that required no audience applause to endure. And alongside her stood Craig Melvin, not as a fellow broadcaster, but as a partner, learning, day by day, that strength often whispers instead of announces itself. Health challenges have a way of rearranging priorities without asking permission, and for Lindsay, moments that once revolved around deadlines, travel schedules, and the rhythm of live television gradually gave way to appointments, unanswered questions, and the humbling realization that the body does not always cooperate with ambition, a truth deeply familiar to those who have crossed into later chapters of life, when energy becomes something to steward rather than assume, and certainty gives way to patience. What made her journey quietly powerful was not any dramatic public declaration, but the deliberate choice to protect her private struggles, to face uncertainty without turning it into spectacle. A choice that resonated deeply with Craig, whose own career depended on openness, yet demanded restraint when it came to the person he loved most, teaching him that some stories are not meant for the airwaves, but for the kitchen table, late at night, when the house is still and honesty has room to breathe. As Lindsay navigated fluctuating health and the emotional weight that accompanies it, Craig learned the art of presence, discovering that love at midlife is less about grand gestures and more about consistency, about showing up to listen, to drive, to wait, to sit in silence when words feel inadequate. A lesson that echoes powerfully for those who understand that marriage is not tested in moments of success, but in seasons of vulnerability. For an audience that has watched their own bodies change, that has balanced caregiving with personal dreams, Lindsay's story feels familiar not because of the specifics of her condition, but because of the emotional terrain it travels, the fatigue that cannot always be explained, the courage it takes to admit limitation, and the quiet dignity of continuing forward anyway. Craig, too, faced his own reckoning, realizing that being strong did not mean fixing what could not be fixed, but trusting Lindsay's resilience while offering his own as a steady backdrop, a partnership refined by maturity, by years of shared experiences that taught them neither fame nor professional accolades could insulate them from life's unpredictability. There is something deeply moving, especially for those in their 60s, about watching a couple redefine success not as productivity or recognition, but as balance, adaptability, and mutual care. About recognizing that health challenges do not erase identity, but reshape it, asking us to slow down and listen to ourselves with the same compassion we once reserved for others. Lindsay's quiet perseverance, her refusal to let health define her worth, speaks to a generation that understands how much courage it takes to keep moving forward when the mirror reflects change, when recovery is non-linear, and when rest becomes a necessity rather than a luxury. And in Craig's steadfast support, there is a reminder that love in later life is not about intensity, but endurance, not about perfection, but presence, about walking beside someone without demanding they remain who they were yesterday. Together, they embody a truth that resonates long after careers peak and headlines fade, that the most meaningful victories happen away from cameras, in choices unseen, in mornings where strength is measured not by achievement, but by the simple act of getting up and trying again. And for those who have lived long enough to know that life's most defining moments often arrive quietly, Lindsay Sarniak's silent strength becomes not just a personal journey, but a shared reflection of grace, resilience, and the enduring power of partnership when health, time, and love intersect.